Welcome back. This is Anuja Matthew. In Lecture 1, we covered the timeline of the coronavirus pandemic. We discussed the reporting of patients in Wuhan, China, with severe pneumonia symptoms in late December 2019, the identification of a novel coronavirus through sequencing of the genome using samples from infected patients early in 2020, reports of cases in neighboring countries mid-January 2020, in Europe and the USA in February, and now worldwide. In Lecture 2, I would like to discuss what a virus is, talk about the classification of viruses and how viruses multiply. What is a virus? A virus is an infectious agent that needs another host to survive. This host can be either a bacteria, an animal, or a plant. Viruses are too small to be seen by the naked eye. Many viruses have either RNA or DNA as their genetic material. The genetic material is contained within a protein shell. Coronaviruses have their RNA genome bound to the nucleocapsid protein, which you cannot see in this picture, and three proteins on the surface: the envelope protein, the membrane protein, and the S protein. The envelope protein interacts with the membrane protein and determines the shape of the viral envelope. The spike protein is a very important protein for coronaviruses, and it's critical for binding of host cell receptors to facilitate entry into a host cell. Viruses can be classified based on the composition of their genetic material and how they replicate. As mentioned in my introduction, coronaviruses belong to the family Coronaviridae, which along with other families classify as positive sense RNA viruses. Positive sense RNA viruses contain messenger RNA as their genome. This gives them a significant advantage because virus-encoded proteins are produced immediately after entry of viral RNA into the cell. It also reduces the number of steps taken from virus entry to replication. There are four genera of coronaviruses: the alpha, beta, gamma, and delta coronaviruses. Alpha and beta coronaviruses cause disease in mammals. Gamma and delta coronaviruses cause disease in birds. In humans and in chickens, coronaviruses tend to cause upper respiratory tract infections, which can be mild in some cases, and in other cases it can be lethal. So examples of those could be SARS, MERS, and COVID-19 that all cause lethal infections in humans. In cows and pigs, coronaviruses can cause diarrhea. Coronaviruses enter the cell using the spike protein that's present on the surface of the virus. The spike protein has to bind a susceptible receptor on the host cell. In the case of human cells, the angiotensin ACE2 receptor has been shown very recently to be the entry receptor for the SARS coronavirus 2 recently identified. The angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptor is also the entry receptor for the SARS virus that was identified in 2002-2003. Once the virus enters the cell, it uncoats, releases its genetic material. With the addition of enzymes, it starts forming new viral proteins. These viral proteins then package the nucleotides from or the genome of the virus, use the machinery of the cell to repackage an infectious virus, and this infectious virus is now released from the cell. Several infectious viruses can be released from the infected cell, and these infectious viruses can now go on to infect new uninfected cells. All coronaviruses that have caused disease in humans have had animal origins, generally either in bats or rodents. In the case of SARS coronavirus and MERS coronavirus, they were transmitted directly to humans from civet cats and dromedary camels, respectively. There is some speculation that the current pandemic caused by SARS coronavirus 2 might be transmitted by a pangolin, but it's yet to be confirmed. A pangolin is a mammal that has a body with horny overlapping scales, an elongated snout, and a long sticky tongue for catching ants and termites. Pangolins are sold in Asian markets. I would like to end this lecture by saying there are a lot of viruses that cause significant infections in humans. We have been currently experiencing an outbreak with coronaviruses that cause severe pneumonia. Other viruses that cause pneumonia include influenza virus, RSV, adenovirus, and SARS coronavirus. There are viruses that cause predominantly skin infections. Examples of those include the smallpox virus, rubella virus, measles virus, varicella-zoster virus. Some viruses cause gastroenteritis. Typically, you've heard of outbreaks on cruise ships that include rotavirus and norovirus. Some viruses cause eye infections. These include herpes simplex virus or adenovirus or cytomegalovirus. Thank you again for your attention. I hope you learned something new today. In the next lecture, I'd like to focus on the immune response generated once you start having a virus infection. Thank you.